Recently, I was invited to the Alpha Rival Splatoon 3 tournament, where funny YouTube Charisma Man invited a ton of content creators and gamerfolk to splat it out in a random team round-robin tourney of Turf War, topped off with a $5,000 pot. My team consisted of myself, Ultima, Ouija the God, and Sandwich, none of whom I had ever met before, except Ouija like once I think in a VR chat session with Ross. I myself didn't stream because I already knew I would be nervous meeting new people and wanted to have like some reserve for video game skill, but my dumb self forgot to record it too. Luckily, Splatoon 3 has a replay feature, so I can do this kind of narrate-y thing. But it doesn't change the fact that I was being silly since our team just kind of clicked. We joked around in lobby, we discussed weapons to use, and figured out a comp of sorts. I'd be the heavy hitter, using the dualies to mess up opponents and go for the kill. Ouija would be our turf cover, sporting the old trash can. Ultima was support with the NZAP, frequently supplying us with gamer juice, and Sammy just downloaded the game that day, so she only had the junior, and we just told her to bubble when under fire or at specific points. Admittedly though, she kinda killed it compared to other first-timers in the tourney. Speaking of firsts, segue! In the first match, we were up against Hackerling, Doug, Wolfie, VGC, and Smith. All I really knew about their team was that Hackerling was quite the fan of Splatty, because their avatar, it's one of the things from the Splat. And that Doug does a lot of game challenges, so I was kind of nervous going in, but then I was kind of shocked. My Turf War win rate at the time was like 50%, so I kind of assumed I sucked at the game, but for whatever reason, I just popped off here. In the second round, I'm guessing Hacker relayed that the trash can could help them cover ground and be a bit safer than a roller, but obviously, that just gave me the rage buff and we kept them locked in base most of the game. Match 2 brought in the legendary Conor Esports, which consisted of Conor, Jaden Animations, Mina, and Ranboo. Admittedly, earlier in the Alpha Rivals Discord, Jaden had disclosed that she had just picked up Splatoon 3 that day, meaning her and Sammy were on even turf, but Sammy actually started popping off a bit here and grabbed a good amount of splats. After they were handed the L, Conor Esports relayed in Discord that Jaden just wanted to draw a picture in the middle of the stage for round 2. I was totally set to let them, but Jaden crossed the middle. She was clearly in attack mode. It was self-defense. But when I noticed them walking, I felt bad, and so I danced for most of the match. That is until Jaden took another swing at me, causing me to defend myself again and do a little victory dance.
Scott Falco is
Don't worry, it's okay.
He's teabagging.
He's teabagging. Yo. Oh my god.
Wait, no,
Cancel.
But we did get the W. The big dog graced us with his presence for match 3. Going up against the host of a tournament is worrisome. I was unaware of skill level, but if Jacob's Splatoon power was half of his charisma power, then we'd definitely... Huh. But in all seriousness, Jmoji was also on that team and rocking a Splatling. I've only met Jay twice, once being an embarrassment to myself getting drunk and playing Kirby, the second being in line for the Splatoon 3 demo at PAX, where he relayed his thousands of hours in Splatoon 2. I was reasonably nervous. I believe too that Splatlings are very strong at the moment since the meta kinda seems to be range. But no, that doesn't mean you should pick up Charger for Turf War. Please stop being on my team with your 400 points and 2 splats. We didn't really have a response for it and just barely squeaked away with a win in round 1. Unfortunately, round 2 gave us the shipyard, my least favorite stage, and a big advantage for a Splatling. Jay locked us down, and I did my best to get some backdoor ink, but my forte wasn't really turf cover, and we were unable to pull ahead. Were we really getting a full loss in game 2? Am I just cursed for that 50% win rate? None of us had the answer to the Splatling, but my team had a brilliant idea. What if we just ignored Jay? GG's. Game 4 brought in the match of the century, at least in my head. The video game boy Aaron Hansen against what some have referred to as Diet Ego Raptor. Their team consisting of Aaron with 2 A's, Fibrous, and Patters. Their comp was similar with an N-Zap and Arrow Spray, but having 2 Splash-O-Manics for hard hitting. This gave me a bit of difficulty since if I missed my shots, I knew I was going down. I was doing great splatting peeps left and right, but we got hit with the age-old Splatoon rule of only the last 30 seconds matter. Dying right at the 30-second mark, the enemy team pushed ahead and we were unable to recover. This prompted me to make my first swap of the night to the BEP to use and abuse the Tented Missile Special. I set off wave after wave of missiles to harass them. However, the BEP, despite covering better than the Arrow Spray, does not have its gracious bullet spread to land easy kills on close opponents. However, their non-BEP nature allowed me to BEP into their base and backdoor BEP. Now, Scott, why are you calling it the BEP, you might be asking? Because you go BEP, 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 and then... Round 3 had us fighting on the same map, thanks random selection, and they seemed more aware of my missile mayhem this time. Things were looking grim at the halfway point as they seemed to have a stranglehold on mid and were pushing into our base, but I did the old stinker move of ninja squidding behind a curling bomb to get into their base. Since they sent 2 after me, my team outnumbered those in mid, dropped them, and they were unable to recover from the mess I made. I took my 1,800 points to go with a side order of victory. Game 5 not only had the 23rd big man, but a boy of the octo variety. Wait. Their comp was nasty for us. 3 splatter shots allowed good cover, good kill potential, and an onslaught of Trizukas. Plus, one of them had the gun with the gall, meaning if I got tapped, I was down. The arrow spray could not contest a splatter shot at any range outside of on top of. And with round 2, I tried swapping to the BEP again, but with the lack of kill potential, we just couldn't keep them from shoving, and unfortunately... Sad music, come on, let's go. Took home our first full loss. With our egos lowered, we went into Game 6 slightly broken. Plus, they had Void on their team. I was unaware if he played Splatoon, but I knew he was an Evo winner, and he was how I learned to get good at Tom and Jerry and multiverses. Luckily, getting an early splat on the man I feared instilled confidence in me, and with gamer juice in hand, I continued to drop more and more of them. Then, I decided to go on the extra offensive and take it to their base until I noticed they slipped past and covered mid. But with a quick cleanup, the first W was secured. In the second round, Void had made the swap to the Splattershot Pro, giving him a much-needed range advantage, and whereas I did manage to bag a bundle of splats again and even drop a crib, his defensive playstyle this round got the better of me, and we fumbled in the final 30 seconds again, giving them a 0.3% lead. Of course, this enraged us, but we were giving our favorite stage, allowing me to get up in their faces for some 1v2s. Near the end, a double Totsugeki solidified our W as our entire team pushed into mid and their base and got us back the W we loaned them. Next on the block was Failboat's team, consisting of him, Choctopus, Auxiliary, and Isabel, of whom I knew nothing about outside of Failboat. He was on the PAX team I played with, so I was aware of his splatty prowess. He was actually the first duelie user I went up against, and we dueled our duelies for a duel death early on. My extra rolls allowed me to win most clashes, and I actually managed to net #1 turf inker alongside our W with how mobile I was. Boat brought the duelie swap, infusing him with the power of Crab in round 2, and actually gave me one of my weaker games. I'd still managed to splat here and there, but unfortunately got Crab several times in the match. Luckily, my team managed to carry my heavy spat-wearing, splat-lacking booty to another victory in the bag. For the finals, we had to fight the only other team with 1 loss, meaning we were back up against Team Octoboy, more aware of their tricks this time around. My first game was pretty weak, but we managed to squeak ahead by a few points. They didn't seem to be changing their comp, so I had a great idea. The rain wall from the gals show. So that didn't work. Swapping back to duelies, we took the fight to the alley for a pretty normal game. There was a lot more from the Trizuka onslaught, but with Ouija's patented I go out the back door while you kick down our front door aerospray shenanigans, he gave us the lead. Unfortunately, Fight 4 was at the bridge, meaning a wide open, narrow hallway for Trizukas, resulting in... So it all came down to this. The finals. The final of finals. 2-2. I had to win that money. That way I could commission artists to draw Cyborg Chan kissing another Cyborg Chan. That's when I had another brain blast. Their whole comp is shooters relying on a projectile. I made a quick swap to the Jet Squelcher to outrange them and suck up their BS. Despite this, I still didn't perform my best. I kept them at bay for the most part, but had a few silly deaths since I'm accustomed to closer combat. But son of a gun, Ultima and Ouija managed to sneak onto their side while Sam and I kept them busy mid. Ouija even went full Metal Gear and purposely hid, knowing they were all on the heavy aggro. So blinded they didn't even hunt him down after he dropped Octoboy, and the sneaky deaky managed to grab the ultimate W as we won the tournament. The entire experience was phenomenal, and I had so much fun. I had no idea how different Splatoon is when playing on teams, actively communicating. So if you are feeling down about your solo queue win rate, don't. As we come to a close, I'm sure there are already people vibrating in their chairs, frothing at the mouth, ready to type a comment. Heck, maybe you already have. But Scott, your teammate who you said carried multiple matches, used the trash can. Yup.